Are you prepared to grow your business today? Stay tuned for what's about to occur. This is the Razor Sharp Show with your host, Ray Milidani. Stay tuned as Ray invites business owners and entrepreneurs onto the show from all over the world to discuss how they are owning this economy and how you can as well. Are you ready to sharpen your saw? Here's your host, Ray Milidani.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us around the world. This is the Razor Sharp Show, and I'm your host, Ray Milidani. What a jam-packed show we have for you today. It's all about the money that's left on the table when it comes to winning tendering jobs. Today we are joined by Chris Dennis. She's an author, speaker, trainer, and tendering expert. With over 20 years of experience in corporate Australia, she is the owner of Win-Win Tendering and the creator of Tendering University. She found her niche helping small to medium business owners with the chance to compete with the big end of town. Today, Chris covers off how to get noticed when doing a tendering job and how to collect that money that is wasted and left on the table. So if you've ever been thinking about how to leverage tendering, well, today Chris will show you how, and join Chris on the journey of what tendering world is all about. I really hope you enjoyed today's show because I myself learned so much when it came to tendering and what the opportunities that are left on the table and some of the opportunities that I've been missing. So let's get to it and jump into the show. Today we have Chris Dennis on the show. Chris, how have you been?
Absolutely fabulous.
Great.
Always fabulous.
Perfect. Now, are you ready to sharpen some saws?
Oh, absolutely. Bring it on.
Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you do and why you do it?
Okay. Why I do it, when I started the business, I was in corporate Australia and working for IT companies.
Right.
So I thought I'd help other IT companies win more business. But when I first started, I had two tradies come to me and ask for advice on how to secure those big tenders that they were going for. And you know what I found? It was so awesome working with them. It was wonderful to see just what they could create with their hands and
awesome.
Service a big industry. Like one of them was power poles, putting up power poles. You know, you drive down the road and there's all these power poles. Someone actually looks after those. And you know, as a person that used to drive along the road, I would forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, someone actually does things with these power poles.
Nice.
So I realised that I could actually help them to get further. And, you know, I like to renovate.
Nice.
I've had a few renovation disasters in my time.
Yeah.
And when I'm talking to these tradies, seeing what they can do, and then I look at my renovation disasters, I just go, yeah, I think I need to help them more than do the renovations myself. So that's why I do what I do, because I love hearing their stories and getting an understanding of what they do and how they do it, and you know how they keep this great country of ours just surviving and thriving in an industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can just tell the passion that you have by telling that story. You're just beaming with energy and excitement. And I think it's important too as entrepreneurs, we don't stop and smell the roses, you know, and just having that appreciation like you've just shared, that someone takes care of power poles. And, you know, there's so many things in our world that there is someone, you know, responsible for that. And how can we kind of bring that together and help create that universe that all works kind of together. And so why tendering? Like what's you know, I feel that maybe there's a lot of money on the table around tendering. What's your advice in regards to entrepreneurs leveraging the tendering, and how does tendering kind of work? Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to use quoting and tendering interchangeably for the entrepreneurs. So generally a tender is a company puts a set of requirements down into a document and sends it to 10, 15, hundreds of companies and say, what can you do?
Yeah.
That's generally what a tender is. A quote may not be quite such a big document, but ultimately it's a company wants something that you can provide them. So why companies go to tender is instead of going to company A and saying, what can you do, and then writing down all the information themselves, and then going to company B and asking the same question and getting different answers and not being able to keep the information the same throughout each company, it takes them too much time to do that.
Yeah,
and it's,
right.
it's a bit like bows and arrows. If you stand in one place and you launch that arrow, it will pretty much go in the same place each time. But if a different question gets asked, you suddenly move your space where you're using the arrow from. So you're going to get different results every time. And that's why they put tenders together.
Right,
so they get the same results.
Cool. Okay, excellent. And I like that interchangeable, because I think sometimes when I see tenders, I think it's a big document, it's scary, and but when you interchange it for quote, it's essentially the same kind of process. You put in a document together for a quote, but this time, the roles are reversed a little bit, where they're asking everyone to invite themselves to tender. How do you find what's your advice in regards to people who may never have tendered before, and this is their first time? Do companies favour long-term people who have tendered many more times before, or can new players kind of crack into the market easily?
Okay, so new players can crack into the market, but it's like with any business. If you've got experience and you can demonstrate the experience and you can show what value you're adding to your end client, it doesn't matter whether you've tendered for one or for 600.
Yeah, right.
It's what you bring to the table.
Oh, right.
It's value to the end client. That's the number one.
Yeah, awesome.
Likewise with entrepreneurs, if you're putting a proposal together for a company to use your services, you don't sit there and write a document going, we are good, we are great, we are wonderful.
Yeah.
It's what benefit you're adding to your end client, what value you're adding.
Yeah, absolutely. And Razor community, just take note of that, because I think that's really important. It doesn't matter what you're doing in business. It's always about the value you're adding and the problem you're solving. And it doesn't matter whether you're new or been in the game for a long time. What Chris is sharing is 100% accurate. And I'll second that, is to say, if you just put yourself out there and you solve the problem and you add value, adding value is by far the number one key that I've found to work in my businesses. And Chris, you're saying exactly the same, which is fantastic. Let's get to know you a little bit more, Chris. What's something that you crossed off your list this morning?
Something I crossed off my list this morning? Catching up with someone who I'm running a meetup with tonight,
awesome.
and going through this is what we're going to do.
Lovely, lovely. And do you find meetups very powerful for your business?
Look, I've only just started the meetup, so
awesome.
It's basically night number one tonight.
Exciting.
So we'll see after tonight how.
No worries. We'll do a follow-up show. Excellent.
But, any opportunity to network is powerful.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you're networking with, because you never know who's out there and who can put you in touch with someone that you need to know.
Powerful, very powerful. I always say that to people that are going to networking, is that it might not be the person you're talking to in the room. It may be the person that they know that they can put you in contact with. So getting yourself out there is definitely key. Chris, when did you know that you were wired to be in business and an entrepreneur?
I've actually always known.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I knew. Like, even when I was in corporate world, I used to manage IT services area for a company that was called Commander.
Yep.
And even the help desk that I was managing and the all the project managers and all that, the number one thing I would say to them is you make decisions every day. Now, if you put your hat on and say, if this was my money, would I make this decision? Just like it's your own business, then say yes or no.
Yeah.
Now, so even back in corporate world, I was kind of acting like an entrepreneur in my own business. It was just that it was part of another business.
Yeah. Excellent. Great. So it's always been there, which I find being a very common theme when asking that question. It's almost like, it's deep in your soul to kind of be an entrepreneur. That's great. Chris, can you share a story with the Razor community in regards to maybe a time where you've kind of failed forward? We always as entrepreneurs say that, fail often and fail quickly, and that breeds to success. Is there a story that you can share where you thought, maybe this hasn't gone to plan, but it's really set you up to launch in a better direction?
Look, I think every conversation, every time I talk to different people, there is always a fail forward scenario.
Yeah.
You don't know where a conversation is going to lead. So every conversation I have, every meeting I have is a fail forward. Yep. Let's just see.
Cool. Excellent. And that's great. Approach everything with no expectation and, see where it goes, which is fantastic. Now, apart from your own book, what's something that you're listening to now or in the past that's changed your life?
Okay, so this is going to be a left of centre one.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, Harry Potter.
Ah, okay. Excellent.
And the reason why I say that is when I read the Harry Potter books, I get out of my head and I imagine. And I get the feeling that anything is possible.
Yes, yes.
So to me, every book that you read adds something to you, to hear, to your heart. So, it doesn't matter what the book is, doesn't matter whether it's you're reading a book to your kids or if you're reading a business book or whatever. Everything that's in there adds something.
Perfect. I love how you say that because it's almost like compounding knowledge. Every book you read just keeps adding and adding value. And it's quite interesting too because as an entrepreneur and business owner, I think I always come from things from a logic space. So, reading books that feed that logic part of the brain is probably more comfort zone. And then reading something that feeds the more emotional side of the brain, all that creativity, which as an entrepreneur, being creative to solve problems and dream up some new business venture is always important. So feeding that emotional side of your brain is a great tip. I'd be honest, I've never thought of it that way. And I might have to add Harry Potter onto my book list.
and I've got to say, they're absolutely wonderful books.
Awesome. Great. Fantastic. Excellent. So when was the time that you maybe felt defeated and what happened and what did you do? Can you share a story?
Ooh, got to think about this one. So there's been times when I've been in the business that nothing has worked. Absolutely nothing. I've picked up the phone and it's been no. There's been times when I've sent out emails and no one's responded and you get to that stage where you go, what do I need to do to actually turn this around?
Yeah.
But the one thing that I've worked out is it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're really good at what you do. But it doesn't matter what you do or how you go out to market. If you're out there, you've got a chance. But if you're not putting yourself out there, not standing up and going, hey, look at me, this is what I can do, then there's zero chance.
Yeah. Absolutely. And raise a community. Really listen to what Chris is saying there, because it's that resilience of being an entrepreneur that makes you stand out. You know, it's the times where you've got your 99th no and that next one is your yes. So just be really resilient. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are kind of born with that, where they never give up. But other entrepreneurs kind of, you know, feel really defeated and flat when, you know, what they're doing is not working. And, you know, myself as well, I've had many business ideas that have gone nowhere, but I just see each one as another, you know, get down and get back up and come out of it stronger. So I think that's a really important point and quite a good share. So thank you very much for bringing that up, Chris.
That's right. There's actually one more thing.
Sure.
Every day is a new day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yeah, as long as I do something today that I didn't do yesterday and pull myself out of that comfort zone, then I can't be defeated.
Yep, absolutely. Treating every day, it's almost a reset button, new day, new challenge, new story, which is great.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, let's jump back a little bit more into your business. And I know that you've written a book. How did you go about writing the book, and what benefits did you find about it?
Okay, so I wrote the book through a program.
Yep.
Through a mentoring program called 48 Hour Author. So Natasha
awesome.
Denman.
Perfect.
So,
Natasha will be joining us on a podcast in a few weeks, so it'll be great to have a share of her story as well. But that's great to know that you went through that program as well.
Yeah, so what happens is before the weekend, you actually plan out your book. And Natasha's really good. She gives you how to do that, but I'll leave that for her.
No,
so basically over a weekend, I dictated the book.
Wow.
So instead of sitting there at the keyboard going, what word shall I use next? Which can be really daunting, you know, that cursor just flashing, waiting. I basically had my earphones on and I dictated each chapter.
Right.
Now, what that makes happen is it's all in conversational tone. It's all down to earth stuff. And all I did was I imagined I had a group of tradies out in front of me saying, here I am. Yeah. Please teach me. So I was teaching the people that were out in front of me.
Yeah, right.
And I've got to say, it was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I can't remember the next part of the question though.
No, that's okay. I think I just want to say that as well, because that's the reason why I started the podcast as well, is because I found writing blogs is not as powerful. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know how to write it in a way. So I thought, why not leverage some of the things that I'm more stronger with? And definitely, everyone's always said that I talk a lot and well, and you know, getting comfortable with the camera has been a journey over the last few months. But I think it's a really important thing that you share there, is that you don't always have to do writing a book the way that everyone else has always written a book. So if you do find it more natural to read to a microphone, or, you know, dictate to a pretend audience, and that helps you achieve your goal of becoming an author, then do whatever it takes to kind of make that happen. Chris, did you write it from your own dictation, or did you then outsource it for someone else to type out the book for you?
Part of the program is they supply a transcriber. So the transcriber transcribes everything that you say.
Yeah, right.
They supply the publisher, who has the editors and the layout people and the photographer for the front cover and all that sort of stuff. So it's all done for you.
Turnkey, fantastic. That's what entrepreneurs love. You know, I love things done efficiently, and that sounds like I need to prioritize writing my book as well, because dictating to a microphone is much better. In fact, that's how I write my blogs, is I just dictate them to a microphone and then have them ghost written for me, and then I tweak them to add my flavour and then publish them. I find it a lot easier. So that's great that I can, you know, the entrepreneurs out there can apply the same method for writing a whole book.
Absolutely. And, you know, sort of working with the transcriber and the editor and the layout person and the photographer was such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
You know, these are people that knew nothing about what I do.
Yeah.
And each one of them went, wow, I actually know about tendering now, which was really cool to know, because that's my market.
Yeah. Excellent. Great.
And it was great feedback up front.
Perfect. And that you've already got readers and people who have read lots of other books or written other books giving you advice, which is priceless. So what's the difference between the two businesses that you run? Obviously, you've got Win-Win Tendering and also Tendering in University. What's the difference between the two businesses, and do you run them at the same time?
Yeah, so I run both businesses at the same time. It all comes under Win-Win Tendering. Yep. So Win-Win Tendering is, say you've got a tender that you want to go for, and you go, Chris, I really want to go for this, but I have no idea what to do.
Yeah.
Which happens.
Of course.
You bring me the tender and we work together one-on-one with it.
Right.
So,
excellent.
I quiz you much the same as you've been doing within the podcast. You quiz me.
Yep.
I'd quiz you about your business and how you do things, and together we'd put that information into the tender document. So that's one side of the business. The other side of Tendering University is all about teaching people how to fish.
Right.
So fishing as part of tendering or quoting.
Right.
So I'm teaching them everything that I know in tender management or bid management.
Yep.
And how to get that information onto the paper in a way that it's going to be compelling for their end client to go, yeah, we want to work with you.
Yeah, right. Excellent. And so you really need to stand out from the crowd. Is that how, tendering, you really need to stand out?
Absolutely. Like with everything. If you're a Me Too,
yep.
If you do exactly the same as everybody else and present yourself exactly the same way, then you're a Me Too.
Yeah.
But if you stand up and you're out there and you do something different, then you're going to get that recognition of, wow, this is actually different, and there's a compelling reason to go with them.
Yeah. And so I guess, people will utilise in your services, and there will be links in the show notes to your websites and businesses for people in the Razor community to find out more information. But would you say that, partnering with someone who's done it, been there, and can give you the advice is going to, by how much increased percentage will it help people stand out and kind of win the tenders?
Tenfold.
Wow.
So if someone has never responded to a tender, and they'll sit there and they'll read the document and they'll scratch their head and walk around and scratch their head and walk around and scratch their head. You get the gist.
And then the date passes and you don't even ever submit to it.
Or they leave everything to the last minute.
Yeah. Guilty.
Right? Because it's hard.
Yes,
and tendering is hard. It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What we bring to the table is we make it that you don't have to sit there and scratch your head, because we've seen all the questions before. Yeah. So we can go, this type of question, I'll quiz you on how do you do something? Okay, that's the information we need in this type of question. Or if it's something like OH&S, sort of work health and safety is a big thing in Australia.
Yep.
What do you need to be able to answer all those questions? Well, you need this document, that document. There's certain things to demonstrate what you do in that space. So instead of you reading it and reading it and reading it, we go, okay, supply 1, 2, 3, 4, but.
Yeah, perfect. And I love that. I love that, Chris, because that's, as entrepreneurs, I love plugging into systems and techniques that kind of work. And, I feel like as an entrepreneur, we all never really think as tendering as a way of getting business. And I think, there's lots of money on the table. So I love what you've shared today, because I hope anyone listening out there in the Razor community really taps into tendering, and even just giving one or two a go and seeing where it leads to. Because I think the process of doing tendering also teaches you a lot about the gaps that are in your business and kind of can outline where you need to improve. And utilising a service such as Win-Win Tendering could open up some of the cracks in your business and kind of polish you to be the business where it needs to be to pitch to these tendering and quoting roles. So that's fantastic. So I'll put all links to your businesses in the show notes. Let's jump into the Razor round. Are you ready to get some questions fired out to you and answer them really quickly and off the cuff?
Okay.
Let's see how we go with this one. So Chris, who's someone who's been a mentor for you?
Last weekend, Kate Engler, the publicity princess.
Ah, awesome. Perfect. And what's one thing that you wish you knew 5 years ago?
That success comes as long as you are out there.
Ah, awesome. Be out there and it will show. Perfect. And how many business ventures have you honestly done?
2. One
Awesome.
one when I was 9 years old.
Ah, perfect. See, it was definitely ingrained in you.
It was.
Yeah, excellent. Now, if there's one thing that you could change in the world right now, what will it be?
People leaving money on the table.
Yeah. There's so much of it, I think. Yeah, absolutely. What is a website that you visit daily to survive?
Well, for me, it's Infusionsoft.
Cool.
That's what I use to keep my business ticking over and make sure that I don't forget something.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Keeping organised. And with Infusionsoft, is there a lot of automation stuff that happens behind the scenes that helps you keep organised?
Oh, absolutely. I have campaigns for everything.
Love it. And what's a piece of advice that you would say is the best advice you've ever received?
Okay, this comes from when I used to ride horses.
Oh, yeah. And
it was my horse riding teacher that said the only person who can't is 6 feet under.
Ah, perfect. Love that. And what would be the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Go back and get a job.
That almost makes me cringe and get goosebumps.
Oh, absolutely. It all comes from the person that gave the advice. That's what they do. So they, go back and get a job. It's like, nah.
Excellent. And what's your favourite productivity hack?
Ooh. I have 2.
Awesome. Share away.
Okay, so one of they're both brainstorming tools.
Ah, cool.
So one's called Workflowy.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a list-based, basically to-do list brainstorming type thing, where you can put hashtags to show what you need to do. And you can select the hashtag and bring up a list of everything that has that hashtag.
Right.
It's an online thing. It's pretty cool.
And that was, what was the name of that again?
Workflowy. So
Workflowy.
WORKFLOWY.
Okay, awesome. I'll pop the links in the show notes for everyone who wants to click on that.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's absolutely awesome. And the other one is a pictorial type brainstorming tool for Macs, which is called Simple Mind.
Okay.
And it's something where you can put in different scenarios and then connect them together to add in, this is what I need to do, or this is where that idea is leading me, or whatever. So awesome, they're 2 that I use quite often.
Perfect. And I think as entrepreneurs, I know I'm guilty of this, is always having too many ideas racing through my mind. And the minute that I get them out of my mind and plug them into a tool or a whiteboard or something that's not my mind, it definitely opens up your mind to think of different solutions and think differently. So those tools that you've both shared, I think, are great to increase productivity and get the mind flowing in the right direction. So I'll pop the links to those and I'll have to install them as well and get onto them as well myself. So thank you for that, Chris. Now, what's something that you've learnt in the last 7 days that you did not know beforehand?
Okay, so in the last 7 days, I actually did some mentoring with the Publicity Princess.
Yeah.
So it's how to pitch to journalists.
Right. Excellent.
And how to say my story in a way that is engaging.
Awesome. And what's one tip that you got from that you can share with the Razor community?
One tip. Always write a pitch to a journalist in third party.
Okay, awesome.
So it's not I do this, I do that. It's they.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool, excellent. And I guess that's because they just want to copy and paste and make it easier.
And the other tip is be yourself.
Yeah. Awesome.
You know, because your story is worthwhile.
Yeah. And I think that's an important and probably a great way, because we are coming towards the last part of the show. And I think that's a great way to leave it, is just to be uniquely yourself. And that's, there's no one else that can copy who you are. Competitors can always copy what you're doing, but they can never copy who you are. And if you embed yourself in your business and your brand, then it's quite impossible for others to copy you as an individual.
Absolutely.
It's one big thing that I've found over the last 12 months is just to be uniquely myself, which is the reason why I started the podcasts and the blogs and vlogs and all that, is just because I wanted to build my personal brand, because no one could really copy who I am unless cloning accelerated really quickly. So individuality and being uniquely you is definitely something that is a great bit of advice. So guys, Razor community, really be uniquely yourself. Put you in every blog that you write, every video that you create, every proposal or tender that you put. Embed your unique self into it, and you definitely will stand out in the crowd. Awesome. So, Chris, is there any last piece of advice or information, anything? Where can people find out more information about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So www.winwintendering.com and www.tenderinguniversity.com. They're the two places. Phone numbers on there, and give us a buzz or send me an email, and more than happy to have a chat about tenders and quotes and
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Chris, for being part of the Razor Sharp show today. It's been a great chatting with you, and even opening up my own mind in the amount of money that's on the table with tendering, and definitely a process that I'd love to go down with. So I'm going to invite you to the Razor Sharp community Facebook page. So maybe that'll open up some other questions and get you embedded in the community a little bit more.
Fabulous.
Perfect. Razor Sharp community, I hope you've enjoyed today's show with Chris. Please check out all the show notes, and remember to always keep learning and stay razor sharp.
Thanks, Ray.
No worries. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did recording it and meeting Chris. Remember that all the links and things that we spoke about are in today's show notes below the video and on the razorsharpshow.com/002. Remember that it's now time to apply what you've learned. This is how we sharpen our saw. Remember, the Razor Sharp Show has been created to not only teach you something new, but for you to give that gift to someone else. This is how we remain razor sharp. Until the next episode, always be learning and stay sharp.